Our guest today recognized that despite climbing the corporate ladder, being awarded the Kaizen Leadership Certification, and managing up to 36 employees at a time, she could better serve her family and her clients if she became her own entrepreneur. Since the birth of her child, she became a shining star to many service providers as their oh so important bookkeeper. And today, she reveals 5 steps to keep you financially fit and ready for your next tax season.
Microsoft Excel specialist, and a certified
Come through with
bookkeeper. Thank you.
This is the Purposeful and Profitable Life Vlogcast, powering up a movement of professionals just like you. Design your life around what's important to you while scaling a business with positive impact, fueled by your passion. Experienced spa director, educator, and marketing strategist, Alicia Rivera will ignite your potential with expert advice and genuine interviews, the best tips for your life and productivity, and sharing your stories to inspire and dream. Are you ready to materialize your dream career and enrich your lifestyle? Are you ready to live life with purpose and experience a profitable practice? Are you ready to enjoy freedom with your time? Then roll up your sleeves. Let's get to work. You're in the right place. Here is your host, massage therapist, sci-fi enthusiast, and mom, Alicia Rivera.
Thank you, Meghan Kizer, for coming in.
Thanks.
Meghan, I want to be able to tell everybody your wonderful story. How is it that you've made it to the place you are now as a bookkeeper who works for herself? What was that defining moment for you?
Gotcha. Well, I mean, this is a business I'm starting in my 30s. So it definitely one of those things you don't have to know exactly what you want to do coming right out of college. My degree is in music. I just realized kind of partway through that wasn't because I was good at it, didn't mean that that's what I wanted to do. So after I finished my degree, I took a temp position, and it happened to be over at Cardinal Health, and it turned into permanent, and I just kept going for different promotions and working my way up. And before I left, I had multiple supervisor positions, pretty large teams, things like that. And I, when I had my daughter, who's 4.5 now, I was in a position where I could quit, and I kind of stayed at home, but I actually taught knitting and crochet classes. So took another detour and just wanted to earn a little money while I figured out my next step. So I kind of figured out like the things I really, really loved about my job before, and what I really missed was managing the team and solving problems and solving the puzzles. I had realized also along the way that even though there were certain aspects of math that I used to struggle with in high school and college, like algebra and geometry and all that stuff, as soon as you put a dollar sign next to it, suddenly it all made sense. And so I started to think maybe this is something I should do, and I really enjoy it. And so my kind of plan for my business started at least a year and a half before I actually launched anything. This is what I really enjoy, and I'm helping businesses now from a bookkeeping perspective, but my goal is to eventually be able to be a full-blown CPA. So really be able to solve those problems for all the different business owners.
I love that. I love that. Just the fact that you saw your goals and you knew what you needed to do to work towards them, and you have such a practical viewpoint of it. I think that's a great way to look at things, because we have to take things step by step. We can't just jump in the deep end, right?
Yeah.
We have to learn to swim first in the shallow pool.
Right. Exactly.
So that's beautiful. I love that. And I also too love the fact that you're following your passion. You found that even though maybe in high school you weren't certain, now you know, and now it's exciting, and you're following that. I think that's great too.
Yeah. Our joke is that 18-year-old me would not recognize me now. Like, I'm studying to learn about taxes. Yeah.
Oh, that's so true. Awesome.
This episode is brought to you by the webinar Connect to Convert, a free webinar where I share my strategies for a profitable life. You can immediately implement them for a growing practice, as well as enjoying more free time.
So, Meghan, when you see a challenge that you have in your business, really how do you overcome that? What are the strategies that you use, the resources that you're able to pull from to get through that?
So some problems that arise, like sometimes the client will have something going on in their business that I've never seen before.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of making a mistake, I'm like, I'm going to lean on my community now and find somebody who's seen it before who can help guide me. And then, hey, I know for next time. And then within like my business itself, I think it just comes down to certain things I can, maybe stop and do some research, figure out how to do, but then also being practical. Like, am I really in a position or have the time to study and figure out how to fix an issue on my WordPress website? Or should I just find somebody and hire them to fix it for me and know that it's going to be done right?
Right.
And that's one of the, either figure out how to solve it myself or find an expert, and deciding when is case by case the best solution for that.
Isn't that so true? We all kind of struggle with that. Is it worth my time and energy, or is it worth my money? Because really money and time are, valuable to us the same.
Oh, yeah.
In our masterminds that I do for our members, we try to make sure that our community is one that lifts everybody up. As individuals, we have different challenges, and we like to come together and brainstorm different ideas, really to further our business. And community can be such a huge help in getting over challenges because, we have to pull together. That's what masterminds are so good for.
Oh, yeah.
So this time of the year, everybody's thinking taxes. People are going around getting their taxes for last year through. I think we just had a major deadline. And some of them now realize that they're overwhelmed in their maintenance and just their bookkeeping. So what advice do you have for those type of people who are thinking, how should I be doing my bookkeeping? What do you have for them?
So I tried to break it down as few as I could, but I've got 5 things that if each business owner does, then they should be in pretty good shape. At least do these at the baseline. So number 1 is just tracking all money in and out. It doesn't matter whether this is Excel, QuickBooks, software, it doesn't matter. What matters is that every penny going into your business and going out of it is tracked in some method. You should always be able to answer the question of what your profit is, how much you've spent, how much you've made. It's information you need to know. Number 2 is it's really important to separate your business funds from your personal funds, because, and I've been guilty of this when I used to teach as an Indian and crochet classes. I started out just having it all go through my personal, and I had a pain every time I went to file my taxes. So I stopped doing that pretty quickly. And it's better to just have all business expenses funneling into one place. And then you obviously want to pay yourself, and you pay yourself to your personal account from your business. And that ensures that step 1, tracking all money in and out, is actually easier and actually happens. And so then number 3 is when you are tracking, you want to be as specific as possible. You don't have to get super nitty gritty, but even just like people who put every expense under miscellaneous isn't really going to help you when you go to do taxes, because sure, you tracked it all, but there are deductions for different expenses that you might be missing out on by having them all lumped in to just one miscellaneous or business category. So you're better off at least separating out office supplies versus, software, do some subscriptions, things like that. And then when you go to file your taxes or you have someone do it for you, their job is easier. And the easier their job is, the less it's going to cost you.
Right.
So it all kind of comes full circle. Number 4 is saving your receipts. Big thing here is, at any given point, any of our businesses could be audited. And what I try to advise business owners and what I do for my clients is that I want, if that ever happens and their business gets audited, it becomes okay, instead of a pure panic mode. And the reason it can be okay is because you know that you have all your ducks in a row. Right. So whether you're saving those receipts on the cloud, like electronically, or whether you're physically saving them, just make sure you are. But also don't be that person that goes to your accountant at year end with a big trash bag full of like all 1 year's worth of receipts. Because again, it's just going to cost you more, and they're not really going to like to see you coming. That one's definitely important. And then number 5 is about creating a budget. Plan is what it comes down to. Most small businesses and my clients and stuff, I try to recommend like you save at least 30%. for your taxes, because that might be a little more than what you need. But when you think to tax time, which situation would you rather have? You would rather go in and realize, oh, I saved too much for taxes, so I can pay myself a little bonus now, versus I didn't save enough. Where am I going to find this extra $500 that I owe the government? I might have to take personal. What do I have to cut back on? It just becomes a whole different scenario for you. And that's kind of the approach I take for businesses and personal, is it's better to have that safety net. I guess I'll recap real quick, because that was 5 things. So number 1, tracking all money in and out. Number 2, having your business funds separated from your personal, having a separate business account with the bank. Number 3, just be as specific as possible when you are tracking those expenses. Number 4 is saving your receipts. One way, shape, or form, just save them. And then number 5 is creating your budget and making sure that you have enough money set aside for both tax time and, hey, there are always other expenses that come up.
Yeah, no, I love your take on that. And those 5 things can seem simple when you lay them out as easy as you just did. But for some people, they don't know that. And
Right.
especially for those who are just starting out, or maybe who do feel overwhelmed, maybe they can recognize that they need to change something in maybe even just one of those. So
Exactly.
thank you for sharing that. You have a special uniqueness to you, and different clients come to you. Who is the person that would be a good fit for your services?
So right now, my clients are really more service-based businesses. My ideal client, if you will, is just it's going to be clients that either don't know how to track it, they don't know how to use QuickBooks, they really just don't understand it. Or on the other hand, I have ones that do, and they've built up a big enough business. They're like, I don't have time. Like, this is not what I'm passionate about. My time is better served on the selling point. Or I'm so overworked right now, I want to spend more time with my family, and I'm spending too much time in my books. The ones who need their time back for some reason are the ones that are like, you know what, I don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. Can you just help me?
And I'm glad that you mentioned that too, because really, you just told me an amazing little story. I know that branding in itself is more than just colors. It's more than just logos. I mean, I discussed this where we go over the 4-step strategy to a successful business, that branding can really mean the difference between being completely invisible to your clients and really attracting your unique tribe. And you kind of did that in this story. So tell us how you stayed authentic to your brand.
By the way, I found the most amazing networking group here. I cannot say enough good things. Like, it's one of those where everybody just gives as much as they take, which I think is really important.
Oh, that is so important.
Everyone wants to help each other. It's wonderful. So what had happened is I'd been talking to somebody, and I found out that what they were looking for was actually an in-house bookkeeper, and they wanted someone in 10 to 20 hours a week in their office. And I told them, I was like, well, that's not me. And I'm not really interested in taking on in-house positions, but by all means, I'll take your information and help you find somebody who is a fit for what you're looking for. And I think because I said no, I might have intrigued him, because he's like, well, hang on, let's talk a little bit more. And so we got to talking about what his needs were and what I provide. And he was the 3rd client that I've signed, and we're still going. It's a great working relationship. And yeah, I mean, at least it's one of those that it was kind of a happy ending, because I ended up being right. It's not something that he needed someone in-house. And this way I still have the flexibility that I want, and he still gets the job done, which is what he wants. So everybody's happy.
Yes. And you stayed true to yourself. You knew you weren't going to stretch past what you knew you wanted for your business and what that meant with your brand. So I love that. I think that's a perfect example. So really, when you boil down to it, what does the customer experience with you look like?
I'm pretty hands-on. Like, bookkeeping, like, some people think of it and they think of it as just data entry. And, there's a little bit of that. What I provide is something beyond that. So I'll making sure it's categorized correctly. I want everything packaged as neat as possible. So again, for that year end, the CPAs should love me is my goal, because taxes will be easy to do. But then the big thing I do is I'm running reporting, all their profit and loss, their balance sheet, their cash flow, but I'm not just sending it to them. Like, we're actually either getting on the phone for my clients who are out of state, or I'm physically meeting with them if they're here in my city, and we're talking through it. Like, hey, here's your profit this month. Here's how much wiggle room you have. Hey, maybe you didn't make a profit or not as much as you wanted. So here's where maybe you could trim back. Here are where your expenses are. I just had a conversation with one client yesterday, and we're trying to figure out how to increase the profits. We're actually scrutinizing their margins and trying to figure out if that's maybe part of it. So like, my goal is, you have to look at the business and like see what you can do to help it grow. And that's what I want to do, is I want to help my clients' businesses grow. If they grow, I grow. It's, everybody's going to be happy with it. So I'm not just there to plug in the numbers. I'm pretty hands-on. Excellent.
Yeah, I know. That's what I say too, is I don't succeed unless my students succeed.
Yep.
And that's just business. So,
Exactly.
Well, we've been so blessed to have you really as our sponsor in the bookkeeping section of our community with our membership.
Mm-hmm.
And you've worked so well in making sure that you know the nooks and the crannies and the ins and the outs of our specific industry. And so that really we can all have confidence in your work. I just want to say thank you so much for that.
Oh, of course. No, it's one of those areas like I was really interested in, because it's kind of unique. Like, I think some might have people come to you, you might go to them. So you have the travel and the mileage. I know some people might actually sell the oils and, creams or something like that. Others may not. Like, there's just so many nuances. It's very interesting to me. So it's, again, that like problem to solve aspect that I like.
That puzzle for you. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, if someone wanted to work with you, where do they find you?
You just can contact me through your membership portal, and I'll be happy to help. If you are not a member, I do have a website, amethystfinancialservices.com. Think amethyst like the gemstone. I'm a February baby, so my husband came up with that one. And I am on Facebook and Instagram. But yeah, so by all means, I think right now the best way to reach me is through you.
Excellent. Well, I really believe that everybody feels that success is different, and people have different levels which they feel of achievement. And so I ask everybody, how do you define a profitable life? What is that for you?
I think for me, it's about that balance. Like, I knew I needed to I wanted to work. I really did. And I wanted to really use my brain, and I had to figure out the best way to do that. And so, I don't think you can have the most profitable business in the world when it comes to actual money. But if you don't have the time with your family, if you don't have the time for yourself, I'm a big introvert, and I need the quiet time, the time to read a book, to knit something, just to be on my own. So like, for me, I need that balance. Like, I am passionate about building my business and about helping my clients. Part of why I wanted a virtual firm is that there are going to be times my kids need me. I don't want to miss the events in their life. If I need a night off to recharge, my time is mine. I'm going to reach my goals, but I'm arranging my time in the way I need to be able to reach those. So I would look at it both ways. Like, and I honestly believe it would be very hard for anybody to build an actual profitable financially profitable business if they're just incredibly stressed out, or it doesn't make them happy, or, it's maybe not the best fit. So that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah. And it's true that balance is so important. Thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for being here, Meghan. It's very important to our viewers that we get different viewpoints, and you've been a wonderful guest expert today. So.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, honey.
Community has a large impact on our actions. We appreciate that you've included us as one of your friends. We love to surround ourselves with the best people. Thanks for being here. That's it for today's episode. You can find more information about today's vlogcast and the resources mentioned on our website at www.purposefulandprofitable.life. Leave your comment, subscribe, and click the notifications bell. Loved our content? Share it with a friend. You are in good company with our movement of self-driven entrepreneurs. We'll see you next time.